Welcome to episode 484 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
How we doing, fellas?
484.
484.
Oh,
What, is this significant in any way?
I don't know. I feel like, numbers with 4 in them, big in hip-hop. You got a 44 and rhymes with on the floor. It's like,
Oh, I thought it was like 444 from Jay-Z, where he's just like, oh yeah, sorry for cheating on Beyonce.
oh, God.
But, yeah, how you going there, Glennie?
I'm going fine, thanks. Just another training session for C-grade touch football. It's fantastic.
Oh, tonight was it?
Tonight, yep.
How you looking?
I'm feeling okay. I did show up a little bit late because
Sharpening the orange knife?
lost. No, it's sharp, mate. It's fucking samurai sharp. It's fucking lost my keys, and then shortly thereafter, when I couldn't find my keys, I lost my shit, and
Left them in the digger.
I did not leave them in the fucking digger. But then found my keys and made my way to training. Showed up a little bit late, but put in 100 whilst I was there.
Have you not
some
got
extras?
air tags up in Toowoomba?
Haven't I got what?
Air tags.
No.
Oh, you should get some.
I probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a little unfortunate.
I'll tell you, you should put some air tags on you, and then you can do like that fucking player tracker thing after every traiing.
Oh man.
Map your performance out.
No one would be impressed by that.
You could top the fucking VB fuck all index.
Yeah. the great Northern Sloth Index. How good.
And look at this guy.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at some new stuff for the week. Now, let's see. What will we start with? Well, how about we go with Klemmer? So, Klemmer has an issue with the Knights. It could be an issue that sees him potentially departing the club, and it's caused a split in the dressing room with him being punished by the coaching staff, but the players backing him up. And ultimately, what happened was in the closing moments of the game against the Dogs on the last weekend, the trainer's come on and said, you're getting subbed off, and he's blown up at the trainer and told him to fuck off, and I'm not going off. Now, look, he was playing against his old club. He probably felt like, they didn't lose the game by that much. They had a lot of fucking field position in that second half in particular, and they just couldn't get the point. And they only got down by like 12 or something like that. So he feels like it's a personal invested game to him. He feels like he can contribute or make a difference in the game, and so he's told the trainer not fucking going, and he's been stood down. He won't be playing this week. They're treated as a disciplinary issue, and thoughts.
Washed up. No one cares. He'll end up at the fucking Titans once he gets punted by the fucking Knights.
He has been one of the better performers for the Knights this season.
Oh fucking! Wow, what a high bar that's been set.
I was just about to say, let's say he does go from the Knights.
Yes.
Is he at that stage yet where his value, and his performance on the field, no, you're right, has been good this year. But is he at the stage where a club like the Titans, because fuck me, can you imagine the Titans if Fafita wanted to play?
Yeah.
Like if Fafita had half of Klemmer's fucking
aggression.
Let me get in. But where does he go? Like who?
Meanwhile, Fafita's coming off the field and the trainer's like, no, fucking get back out there.
This is a tough one. Like there's one argument that says, well, fuck yeah. In a team that's been struggling, you can't have too few leaders out on the field. And as long as he's going to get in there and do that, and he's not going to be brain snap Klemmer that fucking head highs people when he's trying to be tough, which I think you see less and less of. But then there's that other side.
He usually saves that for the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, true.
Of a game.
Then there's that other side where it's, at some stage it's got to be that there's a chain of command on the field.
Yes.
And if the coach comes out and says this, then if you don't like it, cool, blow up at the coach about it, do it in the right way, take all your frustration out in the right way, but you listen to what they say in the moment. And I think I err towards that side.
100%.
Yeah. The thing is that this is not an issue that is confined to David Klemmer. Most forwards usually vocalise some form of rebellion at being told they're coming off when they, in the heat of battle, because by and large most guys want to get in there and fucking get amongst it.
Yeah.
An exception to that would probably have been Tino last weekend when not last weekend, when it would have been a situation with Tino when he was up against Tavita Pangai after the Burton comments, and as soon as Pangai came on, he went there was like one tackle and then he was off. And so I don't think he was fighting too hard because obviously he's third man in. Yeah, not made of the most powerful stuff, but generally, and I've seen a lot of other ex-players chiming in on this over the week, saying that I told the trainer to fuck off every time they wanted me to come off. I mean, so it does lead me to think that perhaps there are other issues.
Can we put some context around that? Are you talking about players from the modern game where you could come off and go back on, or are you talking about people who were played the game?
Yeah. Like I'm not talking about like Steve Roach. I'm talking like one I don't remember all of them, but I mean one of them was Corey Parker, and he only retired recently in the last couple of years, so he's fairly modernish player in terms of when he retired. It makes me think that there's something else that's going on, like with Klemmer. You don't really hear anything of him. Like he doesn't really do anything off the field, in terms of the behaviour issues that wind up in the paper, that sort of thing. So it makes me wonder if there's something like, if at training, if he's a little bit, maybe basically like a mild melanoma or something. Like he's not like full on cancer, but he's like a suspicious looking mole that you might want to get checked out. And this is maybe comes on the top of the rest of that, and they just find him to be destabilising or whatever. And like you were talking about the chain of command sort of stuff, maybe things like that are happening in other aspects of the game.
Melanoma.
Yeah. I mean, melanoma is not really a great example because a melanoma will kill you fucking quicker than just about anything. But like he's a suspicious looking mole that you got to go checked out. Might not be fucking malignant, but it doesn't look great. So go get it checked out.
Yep.
And
like
so
a
I guess
lump in your balls. Like it's annoying. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Probably should do something about it. But
Oh yeah, no, I'd put that in the same rank as melanomas. Do you need a conversation?
Well, not if the lumps the shape and size of David Klemmer.
Can we just get Glennie? Can we just do a quick audit? How many balls you got right now? Just have a feel. How many balls can you feel down there at the moment?
I'll stretch them out. I'll stretch it out for you. Check them out. What do you reckon, boys?
Has anybody ever sung a song about you to the tune of "Na na 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 na"?
Love it.
That's what they call him up there in Toowoomba. Oh, Glennie 3 balls.
Oh, 1 ball Blakely.
Fucking slinging diggers up there in T-bar like nothing. Now,
bestie with an extra testy.
Now the other thing is, Parramatta have been crazy this week. Also, up until the 1st of August, trying to get forwards into the club for whatever reason to bolster their campaign, which is kind of, I mean, we could probably talk about that as well. I mean, this August 1st, late transfer window thing is it's not probably being used within the spirit that it was originally intended, but Parramatta, they tried to get Marty Tapau, and Manly's like, no. They tried to get a couple of other players too. They tried to get Brad Parker as well, and Manly's like, no. And so then they tried to get Klemmer, and Newcastle were like, nah. And then I think they were going to try and get Klemmer, and I think they were going to give him next year as well, but he wanted another year on top of that, and they were like, nah, it's too rich.
Fucking hell, read the room, dude.
Yeah. So I feel like there's this feeding frenzy at the moment.
Who's their fucking player manager? Benji Marshall?
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's not just Parramatta. I mean, with Marty Tapau coming off contract at the end of the year and Manly not wanting to continue with him, I mean, you're getting all these things like, oh, you know, Souths have entered the race. The fucking Dolphins have entered the race. And like, has the game changed? Do we know? Is there some rule coming up where like a forward that's get you a solid fucking 80 meters a game off about 35 minutes, two errors and a couple of offloads that go straight to the opposition?
Unfortunately, the race that they've all entered into is a 100-meter sprint with a fucking brick wall at the end. No one wants to win that race.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. The brick wall has to be. It's more like a sort of a perspex sort of situation because you don't know it's there. You want to win the race, so you're powering through that line, and then fucking.
It's like one of Wile E. Coyote's fucking beautiful landscapes.
Yeah. It's a beautiful straight running track painted on the side of a mountain. Yeah, why is this race going through a tunnel? I don't know, but I'm fucking here to win this race.
But I know that Marty Tapau's at the end of that tunnel. I'm off.
Can you imagine going art shopping with Glenn and his wife? Like she wants some beautiful fucking lakeside portrait with
you got any
children frolicking.
Wile E. Coyote pieces here.
And he's like, I'm really like a fucking desert with one of those 3-armed cactus things and a train tunnel in a mountain.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, look, it's not over yet. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Marty, this may all just simmer down over the course of 1 week. He misses one round and then continue. Comes back next week and off you go again. But we shall see. Now, what else do we want to talk about today, fellas? We want to talk about the tackle, Pat Carrigan. He was handed a 4-game suspension for the hip drop on Jackson Hastings, which ultimately broke Hastings' femur, I believe. So Carrigan fronted the judiciary last night, and his representation argued that a 2-ban game would be sufficient, saying that there were 2 other Broncos involved in the tackle, and they played a part or a hand in the tackle going wrong. But the NRL's counsel said it should be 5 to 6. So I guess they'll go through and they sort of split the difference, and he got 4. So
most people get 25 to life for attempted murder. Get a handful of weeks, he's fucking got off scot-free. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably. I mean, if you're gonna try and equate that tackle with murder, I mean, it's murder in a place where life is really fucking cheap, and the cops wouldn't investigate it too hard. It's like
the West Tigers.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like murder, like a I don't even fucking know.
Well, imagine you're in Cambodia, right? And you are on your way. There's an orphanage that's on fire, and everyone in the fire station you can see has been drugged, and they're all passed out. And so you jump in the fire truck to go and put this fire out in the orphanage. And then on the way back, you accidentally reverse.
I see a mysterious tunnel that I decide to drive down. And unfortunately,
you hear meep meep. No, so as you reverse out, you run over somebody on the footpath, right? And you're like, oh fuck, that's so sad. And you keep going. You drive off
over them again.
Try and save down. Yeah, they die, and you hose down the orphanage, and you save the day. And you then discover that person was on his way to rape the orphans that you killed. That's what it's like losing a West Tigers player.
We started off with a beautiful landscape, and here we are.
The thing is, no matter what picture he's painting for you mentally, you're still thinking of like fucking Arizona.
I really am. I'm still hung up on. I'm pretty sure the cactuses only have 2 arms, not 3,
and a head.
Yeah. He's talking about like it's like a trident shape. He's like, that's what he's trying to say.
Cambodia's a lot drier than I thought it'd be.
I thought it was supposed to be humid as fuck here.
But look, the tackles are blighting the game, and it's something I've noticed this year. The crusher hasn't disappeared, but players are becoming much more in tune with what's happening when they go in to tackle a player. Correct. And before it goes to the ground, they're popping their head out of their arm, so they're not, when it hits the ground, they're not going to be in that sort of crusher situation with the arm around their head and pressure on the back of the neck.
That's it.
And so I think that this one just needs to get fucking hammered, just like crushers were. And people will stop doing it because, this is a fucking... You've really got to go in there and position yourself and your leg in such a way... Like, it takes some setup to fucking to take a guy down this way. So I think this one's a super easy one to eradicate.
Honestly, can you fucking imagine, though, like being held upright? And the worst ones are the ones where they can see them fucking coming. Like, can you imagine being held upright and your arms are pinned in to your body holding a football?
Yep.
And then there is another person about to drive their fucking shoulder into your leg.
Yep.
The fuck?
Oh, but then the ones where they actually wrap up your around your thighs, put their leg in the mix, and then fucking drop you down so that you fucking it's like this impact leg lock.
Well, the other interesting one from this round, and again the carry and tackle was not that it means anything, but the intent wasn't there. It wasn't like a Storm-like hip drop where the technique was fluid and you could see they knew exactly what they were doing. It was a attack trying to get somebody to ground, and the guy fell back over him, and and essentially what I'm saying was it was Jacko's fault. But the other one this week was the Tarpany one, where that was the same thing, and he was fucking hit so hard, and this was from behind, so he didn't see that one coming.
Legs,
that it fucking lifted both his feet off the ground, could have potentially tipped him. And he ends up
that's cannonball shit that would happen to him, which also, again, really easy to stamp out. You just got to flog it, come down hard on it.
But the referees have to do it. They either have to call held earlier in a situation where the player has, been wrapped up by two players up the top.
Yep.
So either that becomes an instant held call, and then you start penalising it just for the late hit after the call are held. But then does that disadvantage the attacking team? If he's still got momentum in the tackle and he's shuffling and gaining ground,
that's the dance, and like that's the art, like that's the science versus the art sort of thing, where they need to actually have a feel for the game and what's happening. But with that player that's carrying the ball at the time.
Mate, Joey Johns actually went on a pretty good rant about it and said that he's spoken to the NRL, and I agree with him. He essentially said that they need to outlaw the third man in the tackle when there are two men up the top, whether momentum stopped or not. They just need to outlaw that third man in, because then you've got to make a decision. Do we allow the quick play of the ball from up the top? Or does one man have to drop down, which could potentially promote an offload? Like, he's fucking thought this through. But he's like, what we can't have anymore is this third player coming in and fucking hacking the legs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got merit, for sure.
So, anyway. Who knows? It's not a sexy fucking future legal issue. Like, Jacko's not going to come back to the NRL in 20 years and say, because you didn't outlaw the fucking hip drop, my ankle clicks a bit when it's going to rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
Give me $1 billion.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody comes in and says, hey, our fucking person tragically committed suicide because of CTE.
Yeah.
And left a fucking note that said, please donate my brain to science because I'm not right.
Yep.
Like the NFL players do.
Like Junior Seau,
Let's have a big fat lawsuit, please.
Yeah.
So I really hope it gets the same attention.
So, Glenn, you got one here for your consideration. Your mate Kenny Mamalo. He was in line to go down to the Storm. He was closer to the top of the list than Noffa was. And he had his cousin, Nelson Asafa Solomona, called him up about it. And he had a chat to him, but in the end, he stayed at the West Tigers for a couple of reasons, and I just want to tell you the reasons and just get your thoughts on it. The first one is, he said that Noffa's the perfect person to go because he's got no family, no kids, so it's better for him. So the first thing, Noffa's got no one to love. No one who loves him.
He also has no friends.
Then, he said that while the lure of playing finals football and potentially winning a comp was tempting, he couldn't turn his back on the Tigers, who are looking to bring back the glory days under Sheens and Benji. it's a good opportunity to go over and be in a good system
Ken.
and a system that's been good for a number of years now. That's the exciting part of it. But I'm doing this for my family, myself, and my teammates here. I'm trying to build this club up again to where it was in 2005. Thoughts?
Fuck. Give the man a statue.
Make him one of the 5 captains next year for sure, right?
Fuck, please.
I think he is actually. He's one of the 5 captains this year, isn't he?
Yeah. He lost the captaincy at one point earlier in the season. But, look, it's no surprise that Noffa's got no family and no friends and no kids. But I'm pretty sure old mate with the tattoo on his arm's probably a bit devo. But Kenny...
Do you reckon he should get
He's
a
buy
tattoo?
a purple Nico pen.
He should get a tattoo of Bellamy screaming on the other end, and he can play out their post-match press conferences in front of himself. Fucking you useless fucking cunt! I'm sorry, Craig.
Defenders. A&B defenders, Craig. A&B defenders. Look, I appreciate the sentiment of him, saying he wants to build the club back up, but I don't know that there's a lot of building back up happening this year, Kenny. Could have fucking slipped on down there, got a bit of extra coaching.
Still, I think it's the thought that counts.
100%.
Who needs it more, him or Noffa? Who needs further training in the Storm remedial system?
Yeah, I had the thought the other day. I was thinking about it on the drive to work, and I was like, what if Bellamy gets him there and realises that he's not, Noffa's not Craig's people, and Craig just spends the next however many weeks and however deep the Storm might go in the finals, just absolutely fucking berating the cunt every minute of every session, every game, and Noffa just comes back to the Tigers worse than he was before.
He could come back, but he could come back better though.
True.
He wasn't playing first grade anyway when he left. So where's the harm?
No, there's zero
from the club perspective.
Zero. I
mean,
at the end of the day, I think. If he comes back next season, plays first grade, and there's a heap of tries being scored down his side of the field, no one's going to go, fucking, geez, I wish he didn't go down the Storm.
Yeah.
Like,
normal services resumed.
Oh, look, Noffa's back.
I'd like to point out, though, that you need all of the Kenny Mamalas you can get.
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially in a club that seems to be full of fucking Adam Deweys.
That's offensive.
Well, fucking serious. If there was someone in my club that went to the coach and said, if I don't get to play with the number on my back that I want, I'm not playing. Fuck that.
That could have been a
forever.
Beat up too. I didn't hear the words coming out of his mouth.
Could have been. I mean, the things that we do beat him up about are the things that he's tweeted from his own account. Yeah, no, that number thing. That's what I'm saying. That's speculative.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is. But then it came out that the club was pissed and players were pissed off that there was a leak inside the club about that.
Yeah.
So, seriously, if there's someone like that in the club, I need every fucking Kenny Mamalo there to counterbalance that shit. Because when shit gets tough, it's Kennys that you can rely on. I'm not saying actual Kenny. I'm saying the Kennys of the team.
People like Kenny. Yeah. People that say the stuff and actually do the stuff that Kenny's talking about. Yeah.
People with that kind of bond and desire to see the club return to glory days and things like that. Yeah.
That's it.
A glory day, not plural.
Yeah. Well, so while we're talking about tangentially the Storm, Brandon Smith has come out and looking to come back with from his ban from calling referee Adam G cheating bastard last month, and he's come out and said what Bellamy did to him for doing it, and his punishment was obviously 3-week suspension, and during that suspension he wasn't allowed to train with the group, and he basically only trained with the fitness coach for the entirety of his ban. And what it's done is he's taken it actually the right way. I mean, because look, there's a bit of dickhead in him, which is part of his appeal to fans, but also a detriment to him as a player. And we saw the white powder thing, and but he's actually come out of this and seems to be had some time to be a little bit introspective about it all. And he said, I think it was a way of sort of getting punished for not putting the team first. It's been pretty hard and a bit of a grind. Waking up early and training by yourself, it gets pretty boring. But being able to hang out with the boys now makes me a lot more grateful for being in a team sport. And so, yeah, he reckons they're trying to send him a message by banning him and isolating him for those 3 weeks.
Here's the thing, Glennie, let's say for the same money, someone said to you, you can keep doing what you're doing now, or every day you get to go and train with a personal trainer by yourself. No other cunt. What are you doing?
Fucking oath.
As you're saying that, I'm like, fuck, that sounds like fucking heaven. Like,
yeah, but if it's a personal trainer whose salary is being paid by Craig Bellamy essentially, and he's governed by Craig Bellamy, you don't want to be training with a personal trainer every day whose purpose in life is to make you spew your guts up constantly at every possible opportunity. And just,
I'll be fucking jacked at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 3 weeks. I mean, there's only so much jacking you can get in 3 weeks. I
mean, maybe there's some more wipeout going on. I don't know. Yeah,
but you would have to say that, like, the impression is, without actually knowing him personally, you would have to say that, like, that his general disposition is that he's most definitely a people person.
Yeah.
And probably thrives in that team sport.
Absolutely.
Being around the boys' environment. And so, yeah, taking that, whether that would work for everyone or not, I think, taking that away from him might have
and that's
made him think.
That's probably indicative of Bellamy's greatest strength. He understands what makes players tick, and his players tick. Is there anyone that thinks that fucking Brandon Smith can't wait to get to the fucking Roosters? Because he's copped some flack this year at the Storm, and Bellamy's.
Yeah, he's going to be under much more scrutiny at the Roosters, though. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being at the Storm is, I mean, you're kind of away from the NRL media.
Yeah, I guess Sydney
and you're tucked away there in a city where people don't give a fuck about you, and they don't, and the vast majority of people don't necessarily know who you are.
But I'm thinking from within the club, like Bellamy, like his scrutiny by Bellamy, and the fact that Craig Bellamy's going to punish him and all the rest of it.
The interesting thing there is he's got an accomplice who is, for the large part, untouchable. And by that I mean that if you look around that team, Cameron Munster, whilst Bellamy would have no fear in throwing the hammer on fucking anyone, that's the beauty of Craig Bellamy. Long term, they're not going to do too much to fuck off Cam Munster unless the indiscretions become large or repeated. And I dare say there's been a fair bit of that, fucking what people don't know won't hurt them with things that may have gone on. Who does he have that with at the Roosters? James Tedesco's not about that life.
Well, the thing about the Roosters is the Roosters will cover your shit right up, though. I mean, how swiftly did they bury all that Squid Game stuff?
Yeah,
at the start of the year.
Very, very true. Uncle
Nick's the fucking man with a shovel, and he can fucking dig.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, yeah, that's right. You're right. He just can't wait to get there.
That motherfucker will bury anything. I mean, Brandon's white powder.
Yeah. Like he's just blatantly sending text messages to Uncle Nick going, FYI, bags on the weekend. Get a story.
Yeah. Contact the journos, see if you can put a stop to the story. Which journos? All of them. All right, done.
Oh, fuck.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I don't know if you've been following this shit with Peter Vlandys, and he hasn't really been covering himself in glory with his choice of words at the moment, but he's basically at war with the New South Wales government because they've said that they are going to withdraw $250 million of funding, which was going to be used to refurbish a bunch of like suburban grounds. Like there's going to be some extra stuff at Brookie, at Shark Park for Cronulla as well, and Vlandy's like, the deal was done. I'm not allowing you to renege on the deal, and if you renege on this deal, then I'll fucking move the grand final up to Brisbane. Fucking try me. But the worst thing, and look, that's fine, but because it was a handshake deal to keep the grand final in Sydney until like 2042 or something. So he's come out and said, the government said basically we've had all this flooding up in northern New South Wales and there's X number of people that still don't have homes. I mean, Lismore got fucked up and, so on, which, obviously happened. Vlandy comes out and says that's spin. When they're using the human tragedy of the floods to spin their way out of why they were reneging on the deal, it takes it to another level. They're like, bro, Pete,
fucking
mate,
double down.
You've done some decent things, you've done some bad things. The thing that Vlandis needs to understand is rugby league is not the same kind of like dominant alpha big dick energy sport as horse racing is.
Yeah.
And the sort of government fucking tactics that he tries on behalf of racing are not going to work on behalf of rugby league. They're just not.
Fuck.
And it's very interesting. But his terminology or the way he states everything is he keeps talking about they've got a legally binding agreement and we're calling on them to honour their legally binding agreement. And legally binding, trusted them, legally binding, cannot renege. So we shall see. But I mean, fellas, I'll just bring this story up just for one reason alone, is to say we may be organising a place in the city in Brisbane for the grand final. So watch this space.
Yeah, look, fuck, who knows? If the New South Wales government were fucking serious, they'd go to them and go, hey, look, we can honour the deal. We've got this thing for fucking Lismore.
Yep.
We need to push you 2 years. This is our budget. Like, our fucking budget is public record.
Yep.
We're the government. This is the budget. And this is where the money was going to come from. We've had to redirect those funds. And
I'm sure you would agree that sports stadium upgrades are not as important as rehousing people who haven't had a fucking house for 6 months.
That's it. But it's just the fucking dumb shit about these big dick negotiations.
Yeah. Where
it's just no one's prepared to actually get in and renegotiate.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the government going, hey, you know what we're going to do? As part of it, we're going to get the fucking, we'll pay special attention to the footy fields and junior clubs and we've found out that there's 6 junior clubs in the Lismore fucking greater area. I don't know how many there are, but, pick a club for each one of them and we'll send 2 players out there to help, with the clean-up efforts. But, like, whatever the fuck it is, give them a PR opportunity. Whatever. Like, there's a fucking solution there.
Yep.
It doesn't have to devolve into we have a contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
and fuck the flooded people. I mean, essentially.
Yeah, that's it. Well, but then again, on the side of the government, what they've turned into is, nah, we're doing this. You're a fucking animal if you don't want to do this. Oh, well, no, hang on. We've signed a deal with our fucking broadcasters based on ba-da. So you're actually affecting our future earnings here, and here. There's a multitude of different fucking things, but...
Yeah.
But if everyone just tucked their dicks in and actually had a discussion...
Yep.
There's common ground. We've all had those discussions in fucking life or business or whatever. You find some common ground, you build from there. And it's not... Fuck me dead. There's definitely a way to negotiate their way through that and find a resolution that suits all parties.
Do you remember doing business in through the GFC? Like, it'd be like, okay, cool. So we've got this fucking deal in place now. It's going to fall over. So we both need to take a haircut in different places and get it back together again. So let's sit down and fucking nut this out. Otherwise, we're both fucked.
Mm.
It was the greatest time to do business because everyone was fucked unless no one was fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway. The good old days of global fucking chaos. When it was caused by fucking Wall Street, not by pangolins. Proper man-made chaos.
Or monkeys. I mean, you don't forget the pox. I mean, the media are really trying to fucking push that one out.
Oh, God.
Right. So, let's move on to some games, shall we? And the first game that we'll be talking about is on Thursday night, and it is the Roosters taking on the Brisbane Broncos at the SCG. Now, the Roosters side, Lindsay Collins and Egan Butcher are out. Lodge starts at prop. May and Thomas join the bench. Broncos side, Pat Carrigan out, as aforementioned. Hetherington comes in at lock. Cobbo returns, which pushes Deloise Hoyter out of the 17. And Turpin replaces Pakes on the bench.
What do you reckon, Gladdy?
I think this will be a competitive game. Two good sides. I don't think the Broncos will be quite as poor as they were at stages last week against the Tigers. I'm going to say I'm going to tip the Broncos, though.
I think the Broncos too. I don't respect the Roosters at all.
Yeah, I just the Roosters just seem really wishy-washy to me. They're just not. They're not consistent, and they've got the look. They've got the look of one of the top sides, but they tend to wilt in patches in games. And I think the Broncos just energy and enthusiasm and the direction of Reynolds is enough to beat the Roosters.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the Broncos bounce back, because last week was an uncharacteristic this year performance, especially in defence.
Yep.
So I'm really keen to see what they do, and I think they'll get over the Roosters.
There's two teams essentially that were rustled last week by teams that had more energy and
chutzpah.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, we shall see. And I think if any of these two teams are going to rustle the other one, it's going to be the Broncos, for sure. The Melbourne Storm take on the Gold Coast Titans in the pub slot down there in Amy Park, as always. And the Storm side, David Nofaluma on the wing. Tyron Wishart at fullback, and he was replacing the injured Nick Meaney. Brandon Smith returns via the bench. Anderson moves to centre. Justin Olam, 8 at bat. And big loss for the side with Lewis named on the bench.
Yeah, he is, hey.
Now, the Titans side, Campbell starts at fullback. Brimson moves to 5'8". Boyd at halfback with Sexton dropping to the reserves. And Marju joins the bench. Now, look, if I told you in the year of our Lord, 2022, that the Melbourne Storm would be giving you a back line of the following: Tyron Wishart, David Nofaluma, Marion Sevi, Grant Anderson, and Dean Eremia. Exclude the halves that are actually good.
I'll tell you that there has been a mass murder at Melbourne. At Melbourne training, someone has let loose.
I think that has got to be the worst back line that the Melbourne Storm have trotted out since they won their first comp in their big, almost 2-decade period at the top.
Yeah,
I tend to agree with you, Nathan.
Let's start at the 2006 grand final. I don't think there's a worse back. I don't think they put worse fullback centers
here's the
and
thing,
wingers
though,
on the field.
Surely there would have been, like in the fucking Inglis Slater. Was King still playing back then?
Yep.
At times, depending on where you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying was, surely during those days, there would have been an origin round somewhere.
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure, okay. All right. So, look, I tell you what, I'm going to...
And that's just in the spirit of fairness. If we're counting this one because everyone's injured, then...
Yeah, okay. Well, you guys talk about that game. I'm going to try and find something. I'm going to focus on the 2007 season. That was a season where they won the comp even though they were cheating, but they were over... Well, or does over the cap means that they obviously could afford better players and it nullifies what we're talking about.
Yeah.
See, that's another
Gives
thing
them more
as well.
depth.
So
Gives them more
maybe
depth.
around 2012 or something then you want to look at for this back line. That's the thing. It's tough.
But again, it's the lack of a decent fullback, because no matter who else they've trotted out, and this is why I think you're right here, no matter who else is there, unless it's an origin round, they've always had at least an elite fullback.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then,
well, I mean, they had Nick Meaney last week.
Well, yeah, now, but up to this point.
Now we've gone to great lengths to shit on the Storm's backline.
Right.
Is anyone tipping the Titans?
No.
Fuck no.
Right, exactly. And the Titans are $6.50 to win this game. So,
which really does speak to just where the Titans are in the pecking order at this point of the season. Oh, these are okay. Let's have a look here.
Tell me your club should be renamed the Chargers again without telling me your club should be renamed the
Okay,
Chargers.
so yeah, a counterpoint to the time when you would say that potentially the Storm would have a bad back line. They had Gareth Widdop at full back then, so he wasn't affected by the ebbs and flows of representative football.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was good at the Storm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He wasn't the Gareth Widdop that you saw in the red V.
No.
Oh, let's have a look at it. I was just looking for a game that the Storm lost. Okay, they got pumped. That wouldn't have been in Origin. They actually got pumped full strength Manly that year. Let's see. Okay, let's try this lineup here. I'm just picking a random lineup. No, they had guys like Matt Guy and Matt King and Steve Turner and guys that were kind of poked their head into Origin at times, but weren't necessarily. You know what I mean?
Man, they were fucking Matt King.
Yep.
Jesus Christ! You wouldn't say he was a fucking horrible player.
No.
This is the worst one I've found just in clicking around with Steve Turner at fullback. He still played in Origin or two. Matt Guy, Matt King, Jake Webster, Chris Walker on the other wing, and Scott Hill and Cronk in the halves.
Yeah, fuck.
So even then, much better than this fucking herd of donkeys. This aforementioned herd of donkeys is still going to fucking smash the Titans.
Yeah,
like beyond a shadow of a doubt. And look, largely because they've got their first choice halves and they're fucking in excellent form at the moment. They've got Harry Grant who's going great. They've got the return of Brandon Smith who'll have something to prove, and they've got forwards that have it's still at this stage, even though they're on the verge of retiring to Redcliffe, they can still fucking get it done. So look.
Next.
Fuck yeah.
Did you hear anything about Toby Sexton? Why he just got flat out dropped?
Because he's fucking hopeless.
Jesus, son.
Jeez, Glennie. Hold back, mate.
Don't rate him.
Sugarcoat that shit.
No.
The Mighty Manly Sea Eagles.
Boyd, just by way of his fucking effort and workmanlike performances, deserves to be the Titans 7 more than Toby Sexton, who had it fucking handed to him on a silver platter and saw the fucking public execution of Jamal Fogarty. So he could be shoehorned into the side. Hasn't even lasted this season. He's been dropped. Keep Tanner Boyd there. Get the effort plays and fucking have some sexy time in reserve grade.
Mighty Manly Sea Eagles take on the Parramatta Eels at Brookie. Manly side. 5 of the Manly 7 return. So unfortunately, Alfred Smalley is not in the side this week, but I think he's suspended for a week anyway after coat hanger and whoever it was in the first 2 minutes of the game.
He's awesome.
So, I mean, he fucking had it all. I mean, it was like the triple double of fucking rugby league debuts, really was. So this week we see Ben Turbo back in the side. Des is obviously intent on killing him because I think twice this year he's been taken out of games with fucking vicious KOs, and I think he's not going to rest until he's actually dead. Morgan Boyle inexplicably retains his spot. The interesting thing is that Bullimore's not in the side, which I think he probably deserves it, and Schuster is not in the side as well. Now people are making a lot about this, he's been dropped and all this sort of thing, but what the facts behind it is that Schuster is officially there's not going to be a Foz backflip under any circumstances. The money just isn't there, and so Schuster is the 5/8 for next year, and he will be treated accordingly. And that is, we've got a 5/8 in Kieran Foran at the moment. You don't need another one on the bench. So until such time as you're the 5/8, back you come.
Yeah, wow.
So, but at the same time as well, I'd be sending him to Blacktown. You got another couple of weeks of the competition, play 80 minutes at fucking 6 down there, and get started on your Jenny Craig and whatever else you're doing to get right.
I was going to say he doesn't look like he's super diligent with his nutrition or his training when he's not in first grade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure George Rose is his nutritionist.
Yeah.
And
when you go from someone like, sorry to cut you off, but when you go from someone like Kieran Foran, who's a consummate professional, and has done his best to look after his body to such a degree, given his injury history.
Exactly, he has to be so diligent with his preparation to be able to be right week in, week out. Whereas this guy,
you're going to go from that to a guy that
has all the talent, all the natural talent in the world, and it's come so easy for him because of that. And as a result, he hasn't got that ethic that he needs to learn really fucking quickly. The Eel side, Jacob Arthur comes into the side to replace the injured Mitchell Moses. And for that reason, Manly 13 plus.
Yeah.
Look, there's a cunts that have come back in the Manly side this week that they've got. I mean, whether they fucking like it or not, they've got some shit to fucking prove to their teammates, and they've got some amends to be made. Just in terms, for whatever reason that they wanted to sit out last week, it had an effect, and that effect is like 2 very valuable fucking competition points that were there for the taking.
Yep.
That they fucking needed. So now they have to get them all on the way home, and this starting at this game. This is a game that is, they should be going into it, thinking, it's a must win. And in reality, it's probably not quite that, but I mean, it's, they definitely need it, especially in a week where the Roosters have a good chance of going down to the Broncos. It's like, it's so fucking critical, and those dead cunts better lift. That's all I'm saying.
I think the omission of Moses probably lends itself to Gutherson overplaying his hand and trying too hard and making some fairly comical errors. And for whatever fucking reason, his teammates look to him for leadership, and I don't think they'll find any. So I think Manly will win convincingly.
Yeah, and if Daly can channel the dead man number 11 down the Jacob Arthur corridor. Or someone on the, or Andrew Davey if he's on the other side, hiding on the other side of the field. Just send it all fucking night, because this game is 100% on the shoulders of Dylan Brown at this point.
Yep.
And look, their forwards are their forwards, and I mean, I think that's probably what they're more likely going to do, just try and take it through the middle, especially with a couple of injuries on the Manly side in the forwards. But yeah, big win to Manly. The Rabbitohs take on the Warriors. Oh, Sunshine Coast Stadium. Great place to fucking watch footy. So get up there if you're around the southeast Queensland area.
Yeah, fuck, it is too, hey?
Cheap tickets, and it's awesome ground, especially if you get in that stand.
And Saturday, so you don't get that Sunday coming home bullshit.
Exactly. Saturday afternoon, it's going to be fine. It's a field that's got like a one concrete stadium, and then it's got like three grassy ones. So you can just rock up there with a fucking picnic blanket and shit, like you used to be able to do in the old days at Lang Park on the ends. And so it's fucking great. I love it up there. I wish it was closer. The Rabbitohs side, Milne returns at centre. Jed Cartwright is out. Tom Burgess suspended.
Didn't you say it was 20 minutes away?
No, it's not an hour, let's say.
Oh, really? Fuck.
Yeah, probably about it. By the time, because the thing about the Sunshine Coast is, it's great and all, but the way they decide to drive up to the Sunshine Coast and develop the roads accordingly, you've got like this highway that runs sort of inland, and then you've got this maze of fucking canals and man-made shit the whole way down, which no road directly leads to anything else. So you kind of got, you can sort of get up the freeway, okay, but then you got to branch off to wherever. It's probably about 40 minutes. So it wouldn't be an hour, but yeah. Rabbitohs, what was I saying? Yes. Taffy comes on the bench for Cody Nikorima. Warriors side. Okay, so Pompey drops back to reserves. Aitken moves into the centres. Sirinen comes into the second row. Jazz Tafanga is out, so Penne comes in at lock. Chanel Harris-Tavita also out. Egan moves to 5'8", with Lussick named hooker. And Taniela Otokolo joining the bench. Jack Murchie in the second row. Curran benched. And Frey dropping to reserves.
Latrell Mitchell, that's enough.
Yeah, he certainly does. Well, yeah, you're right.
It's a homecoming to the Warriors, though.
Fucking, how many times can they show up somewhere and call it a homecoming?
Well, I mean, if you take the narrow window of the last 2 years, I mean, it's all sponge cakes and fucking.
See him fucking heading into the inner city and scaling one of the fucking high-rise buildings and stepping out onto the fucking scaffold. Oh, it's a homecoming. Look out. Fuck out of here. Bunnies by plenty.
Similar to the Broncos, Souths were off last week.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of opportunities where they needed to knuckle down and control that game against the Sharks, and they didn't take them, preferring to just stay in that grind. They need a solid performance against the Warriors, because they can capitulate. Souths can fucking capitulate and leak some points. But they'll be too strong.
Yeah, far too strong, I would say. Also, South's everything to play for. Warriors absolutely nothing to play for at this point.
Yeah.
The Raiders take on the Panthers Saturday afternoon in Canberra. The Raiders side, Rapana replaces Hopoate on the wing. The Panthers side, O'Sullivan shifts to halfback for the suspended Nathan Cleary. Salmon is named in 5'8". Crichton back in the centres with Mitch Kenny on the bench.
So last week was Women in League round. This week is called Humbling round, when you realise just how close the fucking greatest team of the modern era is to mediocrity. So,
what, humbling for you?
Yes. Just
You
remind
reckon?
you of the good old days. Remind you that no one's immortal
You're tipping a loss?
except Nathan Cleary. No, Panthers 13 plus. Canberra fucked, but it's
What a fucking roller coaster we just went on.
O'Sullivan did a fantastic job at the beginning of the year.
It was like that fucking log ride at Dreamworld or whatever, except instead of crashing down in water at the end, you're crashing down in diarrhea.
Oh, I thought that was going to go different. That's that ride that killed people.
No, not the round, not the one in the circle. I mean the old log
fuck.
ride one, the straight log.
Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, no, Penrith 13 plus. Look, Canberra are going to be up for this one. They're on a roll. It'll be a great battle in the forwards. An absolutely fantastic battle in the forwards. But
And that's kind of where Canberra have been finding success lately, and it's an area where the Panthers aren't suffering in terms of injury or anything like that. That's one area where they're pretty much full strength.
that's it. So realistically, it should be Penrith's stand-up moment.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a certainty, and Canberra are a good team at the moment, but Penrith 13 plus, put your house on it.
Yeah, and these halves only have to get the ball. They only have to just get the ball to the left and right because all the combinations are intact out. In the centres and wings.
Yep.
So, look, I expect Panthers to win this one, fairly comfortably, especially because the Raiders have been putting it to teams that are kind of there to have it put to, but they're also they're letting a lot of points in as well. They're getting these games where they're having these shootouts, and they're still getting the wins, which is important for them.
Yep.
But there's going to come the time when they can't shoot it out with a team because the team can defend what they're throwing at them, and I think this is one of those occasions.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
Systems win the day for Penrith.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yep. Sharks take on the Dragons at Reclaim Australia Stadium. The Sharkies side have lost Will Kennedy with an ankle injury, so Cade Dykes debuts at fullback. Hamlin Ueli starts for Royce Hunt at prop. He has a shoulder injury, and Trindle added to the bench. The Dragons side, unchanged from last week.
Wow.
What happened last week? They got fucked up, didn't they?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool selection.
They lost, and their fans were a pack of cunts. So
Yeah,
just
that's
another week for the Dragons. Yeah, I think the Sharks, based, if nothing else, based on their performance last week, I think they'll be far too strong for the Dragons, who again will get a lone hand from Ben Hunt.
This game needs to be
to
to keep it close. This game needs to be absolutely torrential rain from start to finish, without any letting up, and then that way the Dragons can sort of complete a boring brand of football and make all their territory via a superior kicking game from Ben Hunt.
That's right.
But that's literally the only way.
One of the Dragons players slips into a tackle and is collected high, and a couple of Sharks are fucking sin binned or sent off, and the Dragons might find a way to score a try.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Really?
Fuck the Dragons.
Fuck, that's Dairy Queen, Glenn.
This is the time of year if the Sharks are serious about building, and they look like they're building pretty well coming in towards the end of the season. This is one of those games that they're just going to fucking win with ease.
You got to win the games you're expected to win when you're a side that's got those finals aspirations.
Yep.
That's it. Okay, we move to Sunday, and the Doggies take on the Cowboys in Bundaberg, which I believe is home of rum. And the Bulldogs
Have you ever
are going
been
to...
up there?
Never.
More fucking dead birds than I've ever seen in my life.
In what context? Like just on
So
a field?
You go out to the factory,
Right.
and the road out there is just
This is the distillery, the rum distillery you're talking about? Okay,
full,
right. Yeah.
fucking full of dead birds. Right?
Are they dead or drunk?
Dead, but because they were drunk.
Right.
So what happens is...
They fucking fell out of the sky.
Are they eating like the byproducts or something?
No, as the trucks go in,
Yeah.
all of the fucking sugar or sugar cane or whatever the fuck it is falls out of the trucks as they're going up the road. You know, spills over the side and bits fall out. And it all sits on that fucking black asphalt in the sun and ferments.
Oh, so they die of like...
They go in
birds
there.
get like alcohol poisoning and diabetes.
Alcohol poisoning, but then the other thing is, because they're fucked, they can't fly away and they all get run over. So it's fucking carnage.
What a byproduct of the fucking rum production industry. It should be stopped
Yeah.
for its fucking environmental impact. The Bulldogs.
So we're okay with the domestic violence that rum consumption promotes, but fucking some dead birds is where we draw.
I don't feel that rum confines itself to violence just as the domestic kind. I mean, my nana used to always say that rum angries up the blood. And like I've never forgotten it.
You're like, shut up now and whack.
which is why I don't partake of the rum, because my blood's angry enough as it is. I don't need any extra fucking angry juice.
You would be a proper cunt on the rums.
Oh, wouldn't I? So interestingly enough, the doggies are they're going to do. We have been told from a friend of ours who has children at the school in question, they're going to be doing a school clinic visit.
Yes.
So
No,
so
not a school one, like just a
footy clinic,
one.
a club train. Okay, right.
Yeah. That's it.
Just say fucking
Jeez, that's brave.
Get your teachers on the fucking pill quick, smart, because the mobile fucking pop-up spit roast is on its way. The Cowboys side, Kyle Felt has done his hammy. He's replaced by Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Granville has earned a recall to the side via the bench. Doggy's been going okay. Let's face it, they found a way to score points in bunches. Really, they are still susceptible to periods of switching off and allowing teams to somewhat get back into the game and the odd shootout here and there. The Cowboys don't mind a shootout either.
I think the Cowboys are probably more adept, but the thing that I think the Bulldogs might struggle with is the fact that the Cowboys will keep coming at them and they'll keep throwing different structures at them, especially on the edges, where I think that's where the Cowboys might get them. With Nanai in particular, we saw last week, he cut him to shreds just with footwork a couple of times, and I think the Cowboys will do this one easy.
Yeah,
and just from a game plan situation, I mean, really just keeping your side awake to the fact that Burton's going to try and put it over the top of Addo-Carr, so watch out when Addo-Carr's separated himself out in the wing there, and watch and the occasional dart from Jeremy Marshall-King, who seems to be picking up form. The longer he plays under Potter. Other than that, I'm not sure if there's much. There's nothing that the Cowboys have too much trouble stopping, I don't think. And as we said earlier for the Rabbits, I mean the Cowboys need to start thinking about the big game, the bigger games ahead. And this is one that they should win. And really, if they're being serious, it's one that they should, try and make an example. This is a game where they shouldn't concede many points.
Correct.
The West Tigers take on the Newcastle Knights. The Sunday afternoon game, 4 p.m. game, out at Campbelltown. The West Tigers side. Icy Pole starts at lock for Jackson Hastings, who is gone for the rest of the season. And Freeman on the bench. Otherwise, no changes. The Newcastle Knights side. Best returns from his thumb injury. Tuala shifts to the wing, and Sasagi is on the interchange. Klemmer is out, as we mentioned at the top of the show, and Jacob Saifidi will be teamed up with his brother, starting front row.
Yep.
Jackson Hastings or not, this is one of these games that I think this is extremely not only winnable for the Tigers. I think they should go into it expecting to win, and it would be disappointing if they didn't put this one away.
There's no way the Tigers
Based on the
lose.
last 2 weeks.
There is absolutely no way the Tigers lose this game.
No way, you say?
Zero chance of the Tigers losing. In fact, I think they'll win by at least 36 points.
36 points.
You heard it here first. Newcastle fans, Glennie is prepared to take all bets.
I just want to see what I want to see what the West Tigers scores, not winning margins, scores have been in this year, just to see how out of the question a 36-point winning margin. Let's say it's 36 points to nil, Glennie. Okay.
Yeah, let's not get carried away. I think the Knights might fucking jag a bit, but the Tigers will score 50.
Can you recall if the Tigers breached 36 points?
Why are you going to come in with logic and facts?
I'm just saying, like, you're calling for a 36 point margin. I just want to make sure that you can actually put a 36 point margin on 0.
36 to 42 or something. Look, there's been some stupidly high scoring games you've lost.
Let's see what we got here. Hang on a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to find a number bigger than 36 on either side of the ledger. Oh, Manly scored 36 when they beat you.
Well, you got to bring up old shit.
You scored 36 when you beat the Bulldogs. 36-22 it was, Glennie.
There you go.
I don't know why you got to bring up old shit.
And then Canterbury scored 36 against you in the return round when they beat you 36-12. And otherwise, the 32 points that you scored against the Brisbane Broncos. What I will say is, though, this 26 against the Cowboys and then the 32 against the Broncos has proven to be two of your largest scores.
We're growing. We're building. Dewey and Jock in the halves feel far more confident with that combination than anything to do with Luke Brooks. Dane Laurie is in outstanding form.
Yeah, fuck yeah. He can see another Penrith Grand Final victory.
Well, I'm sure he's still playing with his Panthers jersey underneath his Tigers jersey, so it's, I'm not going to hate on it.
Yeah.
I like Izzy Pole at lock.
Yeah, obviously he's not going to command the touches that Jackson Hastings does, but at the same time, in lock though, how much of an impact has Hastings had? I think your attack has been obviously the evidence seems to suggest that your attack is better with him moved out of the halves. And Dewey, it's a combination of him being moved out of the halves and Dewey getting his hands on the ball, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
What I'm doing, I'm trying to talk the Tigers up here. The loss of Jackson Hastings in the 82 touches a game, it's not going to have an absolute cataclysmic effect.
We're not as good a side attack without Jackson Hastings, since his unfortunate murder at the hands of Pat Carrigan. But we do have to get on with it. There's finals to be made. And I think the West Tigers, executing the Novocastrians is another step in the right direction.
And you've got the absolutely reborn New Brown as well at hooker, who may, pending any future, I guess with Benji and that around the club now, he's killed off the merry-go-round of hookers. With Lids expected to be shopped out to the Dragons.
Tell you what,
and Simpkins as the one hooker that sits on the extended bench.
That sounds like the worst Bucks party game in history.
Solving the hooker problems.
The merry-go-round of hookers.
I mean, that sounds pretty fucking great. To be honest.
You don't have my friends. Because honestly, the merry-go-round would stop, and it'd be them on there.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, Tigers were plenty, let's be honest, boys.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
Appreciate you fucking support.
Newcastle are cooked.
Yeah. Will we be doing a members-sode for this one, Glennie?
I think it's probably a good idea, don't you?
Yeah, we had to kick off about 5 p.m. for the second half of that game?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Lock it in.
The fact that the Knights coach is now talking about, don't forget I've won grand finals in fucking pretend football.
I saw a quote from a quote on Twitter today from him, not him. It was from someone at the club about him, and when I saw it, I was just like, yeah. So he's been accused of running a soft ship.
Jesus. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just going to find out where the quote came from. But
Well, he can't run a hardship because if it hits heavy fucking waters and Kalen Ponga hits the deck, he'll fucking knock himself out and he'll be out for another 6 weeks. He's got to run a soft ship. Extra fucking bubble wrap.
He seems to be, and like, have you seen? Did you watch that press conference last week?
No.
Like, he seems to be like one of those coaches that's kind of fronting up to the things, knowing, like, you know, dead man walking kind of thing.
Mm.
Like, I cannot see, and it's like, you know, they had the Brownie era, which absolutely peaked when he fed Wayne Bennett in the press conference and at no time on the field. I mean, this era, there's not a lot of fucking recommending it though, is there?
No.
Yeah, no.
They're sliding backwards, despite the acquisitions that they brought in. I mean, they brought in a proper hooker. You know, they've had the advent of Kalen Ponga, being a player that's doing things at representative level, and, you know, presumably at the peak of his powers.
Look, here's the thing. It's almost like you'd say that, well, everyone looks at the Adam Reynolds South Sydney deal, and right now it looks like Brisbane took an absolute fucking steal.
Yep.
Because they're having a renaissance, and Souths are struggling and well below where they should be. However, the true outcome of this trade won't be known for 2 years.
Yep.
It was kind of like the James Maloney trade. Like, until you looked at what Penrith got out of it, and the fact that Matt Moylan is still there,
yeah,
then you know who wins. But it may be that Newcastle look at this and they can attract some players, and Origin players now want to play with Kalen because they're like, fuck, he can do that in a representative arena. Have one of the most damaging games that I've seen from a fullback in ages. Yeah, I want to go to Newcastle. So it may be in 2-3 years we look at this and go, fuck, that deal to Kalen was a good idea. But yeah, right now it's hamstringing the club.
Yeah, but it's not even the Kalen deal. I mean, just from the coaching perspective. I mean, this is a tenure that started out quite promising.
Yep.
And I mean, like, Brownie ended up in, like a fireball of strawberry milkshakes and the rest of that sort of shit on the way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he seems to be a dead man walking after not being in the job for a very long time.
I just think he's a mediocre coach. Mediocre coaches deliver mediocre results. It's fucking the nuts and bolts of it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the West Tigers on track for their biggest victory of the season.
Undoubtedly. I
think it's not a huge bar. I think it's only like 14, something around that.
We're winning by a minimum of 36 points. Take it to the fucking bank. You're hearing it more and more.
So this membisode is going to be
as I say it more and more.
This membisode on Sunday is going to be an absolute fucking anticlimax, because if they're going to win the game by 36, then they should be up by probably 18-24 by half time, right?
Well, I probably wanting to be 32.
35. We're going to be 35 up at half time.
yeah, 35 up and then a late challenge from the Knights. And did you see that? They're still pushing that one, the Tigers.
Which one?
The old Cowboys thing. They're getting an audience with Vlandys and Abdo.
Oh wow!
They're going to take their highest, their high-powered legal minds
in their briefcase,
which means presumably they're going to leave Pascoe and his show bags at home. As there's going to be Lee up there.
So Vlandys is prepared to swing his dick and make enemies with a state government.
Yes.
But Justin Pascoe's going to fucking crack him, is he?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if he was going to be if he was going to be Big Dick Vlandys, why
he'd organise the meeting and not show up?
Yeah, like why would you even grant the likes of fucking? Why would you grant the likes of Pascoe an audience in the first place?
Oh,
you just say nah.
Well, at least in this one, I've done the right thing. It's the pat on the head. Okay, mate.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You're very important.
Okay, little
guy. Thanks for the show back.
Okay. When you're talking about big dick in the government, though, did you see the tweet today from the Sydney Water account on Twitter?
Yeah.
It said, "We remove around 500 tons of wet wipes from our wastewater system every year. That means we've removed around 5,497,826 tonnes of wet wipes since the last time the West Tigers played finals footy. Now, someone sent that tweet to me and said, "Are you running the fucking Sydney Water account now?" and I replied, I said, word for word, my reply was, "No, because I'd make up an even bigger number for the Eels premierships since Eels premierships." And then she has then tagged me in another tweet down the chain from Sydney Water when someone complained, a West Tigers fan complained that I don't even use wet wipes. And they've replied to him and said, "Our sincere apologies, Will. We were merely trying to convey the magnitude of the issue. And when we tried to equate it to the last time Parramatta won a premiership, our calculator broke."
Love it.
Oh, I love it. That's fucking great.
Mate, shithousery on Twitter from professional, corporate and all government accounts is just tremendous. That's it, boys. That is it for episode 484. Thank you for listening, everyone. Belated welcome to new listeners as well. I'm sorry I was remiss in welcoming you, and thanks so much to the new patrons that have signed up recently as well. That I'm predominantly, I think, to hear Glennie in pain. In Tigers game membersodes. I don't even remember what the topic for the next membersode, the regular we might have to fucking reiterate that on the weekend as well and get back to doing
Well, of us 3 times, I can't remember.
That's right. I need you to... You know what? Fuck them. We just make up our own shit and we'll just talk about whatever the fuck we want. How about that?
Okay, cool.
There we go. Just like now. But if you do want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/TWiL Nation, and we appreciate the support. And if you fellas don't have anything else that you would like to add, I should say get your tips in as well. I have been terrible at looking in at at A, putting my tips in, and B, checking out the standings at the moment. But I'm logging in right now, and I will throw up the standings and let's see who is on top.
Go for it.
Of the TWiL Tipping Championship 2022.
Yep.
And currently, the table stands as follows. Tied on top with Kiwi Villa and Mitch Rich. 1 point back to Barrett's Belmore. And another back to our mate Ben Dunn. Also tied with Craig C. Cross, Mitch Doyle 13. Sad Bronco, Reynolds Raging Rowana, Alpha Ben RL, and Rosie !
Whoa.
And Broncos fan. So obviously people go as per their team's fortunes. And we've got a couple more on that, tied outside. I mean, it's all the way down to like 13th on the ladder. The people are, it's all to play for. Actually, I'm looking at the ladder now. I mean, fucking the top 20, 25 people easily more. Top 34 people probably in it. So put your tips in, and good luck.
Look, if it's anything like the fucking actual season, like we're depending on a couple of different games, the top 4
10
might not be finished till the last round.
And the top 10 still probably playing for it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Cannot
Not
wait.
to mention the spoon battle.
Oh, the absolute hyper bowl that we've got developing. I think actually the West Tigers result last week may have deprived us of a closer hyper bowl at the end. I mean, because we were sitting here with the Titans dead last, 1 game behind the West Tigers, who are 1 game behind the Knights and the Warriors.
Yeah.
That's the 4 teams that it's coming from. It's tough to see the Titans where their win to get off the bottoms is coming from. At this point, you can't take points off these other teams above them. So
And the Tigers they'll have 2 points added on for the Cowboys game after Justin Pascoe fucking gets in and reads them the riot act.
Mate, he could conjure up one of the great fucking show bags of all time. Like better than a Birdie Beetle.
I was just about to say
better than
Milko.
Better than the Milko Sticks and Pops. Like fucking he could go hard on the show in the show bag paint and just fucking blow Vlandy's. He could give him a show bag that's got fucking $250 million to fund these fucking stadiums, and then of course Pete's going to give you the 2 points when that happens. Of course.
You know, I'll tell you what. Vlandy strikes me firmly as that cunt that will hold a grudge.
Oh, for sure.
But also forever remind you that he holds a grudge about you. As in, like, we'll do a press release and say, well, the NRL is giving, things for new stadiums to to this club and this club and this club, and not the West Tigers. Like just
Yeah. Yes. And so that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Later.
See ya.